Imagine an island nation that controls the economic arteries of the entire planet, hoarding wealth simply because of its geological luck. For decades, Singapore has reigned as the undisputed king of global trade, capitalizing on the Malacca Strait, a hyper-congested choke point through which 1/4 of the world's maritime commerce must pass. For decades, Singapore has reigned as the undisputed king of global trade. The fountain of this infinite wealth is the most heavily congested maritime choke point on Earth, the Malacca Strait. Connecting the Indian and Pacific Oceans, this narrow water corridor spans 800 kilometers, but shrinks to a fragile 2.8 kilometers at its narrowest pinch point. Every single year, between 90,000 and 100,000 colossal vessels jam into this strait. That means 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, a megaship passes through every 4 minutes. This tiny geopolitical bottleneck forces a staggering 25% of all global maritime commerce and 1/3 of the world's entire oil supply into a single line. If this corridor were to close for just a few days, global factory assembly lines would instantly freeze, millions of barrels of crude oil would be cut off, and a systemic planetary economic collapse would trigger. Singapore has spent decades sitting directly on top of this critical planetary valve, effortlessly hijacking global wealth. But in 2026, a dangerous political realignment is quietly unfolding right above it, engineered to instantly suffocate this billionaire oasis. Welcome to the Kra Isthmus Land Bridge. The camera zooms straight into the narrowest neck of the Malay Peninsula in southern Thailand. Here, a $30 billion infrastructure gamble is tearing through the raw earth. This is not just a civil engineering project, it is a desperate monument born from a volatile domestic political drama. Faced with a stagnating economy trapped in the middle-income rut, the ruling Shinawatra faction in Bangkok is racing against its own political clock. To secure their slipping regime and leave a historic legacy, they bypassed detailed environmental consensus to execute a top-down multi-billion-dollar real estate coup, proposing to blast 2 massive deep-sea ports and link them with an ultra-accelerated rail and highway grid. But as multinational capital circles this fragile bypass, the ultimate danger emerges from the deep shadow of a new cyber-Cold War. For China, this land bridge is the ultimate weapon to bypass the Malacca dilemma, escaping the direct military oversight of the United States Navy. From the anxious backrooms of Bangkok's elites to the silent proxy intelligence war for control of the Indian Ocean, a historic economic blockade has just been weaponized. This is the inside story of how a desperate political class is risking everything to slice a continent in half and rewrite the rules of global wealth. The geopolitical core of this $30 billion gamble is a direct attack on the world's most profitable shipping lane. To understand how deadly this plan is, we must look at the exact path of the land bridge. The master plan builds 2 massive deep seaports on opposite sides of southern Thailand. The western terminal, built at Ranong, opens directly into the Indian Ocean. The eastern terminal, built at Chumphon, opens straight into the Pacific. Linking these 2 oceans is a 90-kilometer shortcut packed with automated freight rail and a massive high-speed highway. For centuries, every ship sailing between Europe and Asia was forced to travel thousands of kilometers south, passing through the narrow Malacca Strait and paying a massive price to the port of Singapore. This land bridge breaks that monopoly completely. Ships will no longer need to navigate the crowded strait. Instead, they will dock at Ranong, unload their cargo into high-speed trains, cross the 90-kilometer land route in just a few hours, and reload onto waiting ships at Chumphon. By cutting shipping times by up to 4 days and slashing fuel costs, this shortcut acts as a financial ligature, choking the vital flow of trade that built Singapore's billionaire economy. But Bangkok's elites are not running this project for economic efficiency alone. Behind the automated cranes lies a desperate political necessity, a calculated bid to survive a historic crisis at home. To understand why Bangkok is desperate to build this bypass, we must look at the serious economic reality inside Thailand. Thailand is currently facing a critical domestic countdown. The nation is trapped inside what economists call the middle-income trap, a severe state of economic stagnation where a country can no longer compete with low-wage nations, yet lacks the advanced technology to match elite economies. Compounding this crisis is a fast-aging population. Triggered by a highly successful 1970s family planning program, improved public health care, and rapid urbanization, Thailand's birth rate has collapsed to one of the lowest in the world. By 2030, over 25% of its citizens will be elderly, causing a massive shortage of labor for its major industries. Faced with a slowing economy and rising public pressure, the current government has decided to launch a massive $30 billion project. The Kra Isthmus Land Bridge. They desperately need a historic monument, a multi-billion-dollar project to force foreign investors to pour money into the country. But as Bangkok risked the nation's entire fortune on this high-speed gamble, a far larger superpower is waiting in the shadows. But the true danger of Thailand's $30 billion gamble does not lie within its aging workforce or its slowing economy. It is hidden inside a silent, brutal superpower war for control of the global oceans. For decades, China has faced a critical vulnerability known to military planners as the Malacca Dilemma. Over 80% of Beijing's vital energy imports must pass through the narrow Malacca Strait. But this corridor is heavily monitored 24 hours a day by the United States Navy's 7th Fleet and P-8A maritime patrol aircraft stationed right in Singapore. Every single oil tanker's data is tracked and cataloged in real time by Western intelligence. In the event of a conflict, the U.S. Pacific Fleet could instantly enforce a total naval blockade, cutting off China's economic lifeline in a matter of days. The vital valve of an entire superpower remains entirely in American hands. The Kra Isthmus Land Bridge changes the entire chessboard. By funding and quietly securing a presence inside these automated ports at Ranong and Chumphon, Beijing is not just buying a faster trade route. They are engineering a massive geopolitical backdoor, a strategic bypass to escape American military oversight completely. What Bangkok designed as an economic monument has transformed into a dangerous proxy theater. Under the direct shadow of this superpower Cold War, Thailand is racing against its own countdown, hoping this high-stakes gamble will protect its survival rather than drag it into the crossfire. The $45 billion project across the Kra Isthmus. To the outside world, this massive infrastructure project may look like an unnecessary detour, an expensive logistical alternative to a strait that has never closed. Yet beneath this multi-billion-dollar transportation corridor lies a cold, pragmatic struggle for geopolitical survival. What began as a desperate political move in Bangkok to escape an economic trap has instantly linked with China's long-term energy strategy. By establishing this 90-kilometer automated corridor, Thailand is not merely building a rail line, it is drawing a new structural frontier across the heart of Southeast Asia. Whether this high-speed land bridge will successfully break Singapore's century-old maritime monopoly or dissolve into an unaffordable state debt remains the ultimate question. But as the global centers of wealth and military power shift toward East Asia, this narrow strip of land is transforming from a quiet natural barrier into a highly contested strategic gate. Next time you look at the map of Southeast Asia, remember the absolute political pressure that conceived it, and the invisible lines of superpower competition quietly altering the world below. Thank you for exploring this frontier with us. If you value this intelligence, consider joining the community by subscribing.